Welcome back. Today is another Thalassophobia video, but it's a little special because it's exclusively Thalassophobia in video games. Last week I asked you guys to send me any games that had water sections that were either big Thalassophobia or submechanophobia or just made you uncomfortable. I actually had a lot of you guys hit me up with all sorts of stuff. We have games like Inside, Halo 2, Ratchet Clank, Farcry 3, all sorts of stuff. So I appreciate everyone that sent me these. It helped me find what I wanted for this video a lot faster instead of having to think about it. There was obviously some that I thought of that no one suggested, and there's probably going to be some that I missed. But I compiled in front of me all sorts of clips from all sorts of games. Some of it's clips of me playing, some of it's clips you guys sent me. I'm not going to rank them. I might pick like a worst one at the end, but I'll leave it up to you guys. We're going to kind of go through them together. Before we jump into this, I have an announcement. I have a Discord. It's not super active. Everyone in there is 14 years old, but please join it because I want more people on there. I'd love to hit 1,000 members. I would love to, just for my own pride of seeing that 4-digit number. Come on over, check it out, hang out. You can talk to me. I'm in there sometimes not at all, and then sometimes I'm there like all day. So you can come chat with me. Links for stuff is always in the description. Anyway, we're going to go through these games in alphabetical order, and we're going to cringe. We're going to cringe so hard. If you suggested a game that I didn't put in here, I'm sorry. There's probably a reason, or I just forgot, because that happens too. Okay, first up, since we're going alphabetically, we have Abzu. Abzu is kind of a stylistic, kind of artsy diving game. It's not played to be, scary at all. It's actually pretty serene and peaceful. You get to dive down deep with whales and all sorts of stuff. But for those of us that aren't really into the whole deep dark water thing, it does showcase a lot of the vastness and deepness of the ocean and just kind of the general emptiness. But like I said, it's not played to be scary at all. You like befriend sharks in this game and stuff. It's not supposed to be scary, but yeah, it gets a little creepy at times because of the water. We have Ark Survival. There's a lot of underwater wildlife in these games, and lots of it's really big and aggressive. The AI is a little weird in the game, and I don't know, the game's not the most polished game, but there are lots of sea creatures, and some of them are pretty freaky, so the water can be pretty deep. We got Debris. This is a game that I wanted to try out myself, but it just looked kind of repetitive, but it did look like it had lots of good underwater bits where stuff jumps out at you. There's lots of sharks in this game. You're pretty much in underwater caves the whole game. This is my own edition. We got Donkey Kong 64 because this freaking mechanical fish that you have to swim into its mouth. I did not like this as a kid. This is like one of my earliest thalassophobia in games memories is that fish swimming up underneath me and knowing I had to go over to it. We got Far Cry 3, kind of a classic one. The water's kind of murky and blurry, and there's aggressive sharks. And there's actually lots of secrets underwater as well as this scene. Yeah, this scene. Similarly, we have GTA 5. I don't really feel like I need to say too much about this. I feel like it's pretty well understood that GTA has some unnecessarily horrifying oceans in them. I did a video already about it, but bro, the oceans are just vast. They're deep, they're dark, they seemingly span forever. Even after playing all the Subnautica I played, and I kind of became desensitized to that game, switching over and trying out the oceans in GTA 5 was like a whole new. It's like I never played Subnautica at all. I mean, you can watch my GTA video. I literally I keep trying to go check out this wreck or that wreck, and half of them I just bail on because they're just so freaky. Okay, that's close enough. Okay, next up we have Halo 2. This is one I had forgotten about, so I appreciate you guys sending this to me. The mission Regret, you take this like underwater elevator through these ruins, and it kind of catches you off guard because you're not really expecting it, and then you just kind of float through all this ruined, I don't know, architecture. And it's pretty dark in there. And kind of creepy. It's dark. I don't know what else to say about that. The elevator also moves really weirdly, so it doesn't feel like an elevator. It just feels like you're just accidentally floating around, but you end up where you're supposed to go, so it works out. Inside. This game is not all underwater. There's just an underwater section where there's that underwater demon girl that comes after you. The game is just inherently dark and murky just in general, and kind of foggy. So it lends itself pretty well to underwater horror. Pretty much for the whole water section, pretty much anytime you're in the water, this demon girl chases you, and if she catches up to you, she drags you down and drowns you. Which is just lovely, isn't it? Also, another one of my own additions. This one might make you laugh, but this freaking fan in Last of Us 1, and this whole section here where you have to go underwater, seriously, it was like Subnautica the first time, where I spent like 5 minutes just like building up the courage to go in the water. But yeah, The Last of Us has lots of underwater sections. Well, I don't know about lots of, but it has enough. And they're all pretty creepy. And your air is pretty limited. Okay, we have Little Nightmares. This is a DLC, I believe. Called The Depths or something like that. It's actually a lot like Inside, where every time you're in the water there's a creature coming after you, but this game isn't quite so two-dimensional. There's a little more depth to it. But pretty much same idea. When you're in the water, there's something after you, so you got to make sure you minimize how much you're in the water. And so you're pretty much on your toes at all times, and you know there's something lurking under the water, but you don't actually know what it is, per se, for a while. You just know you don't want it to get you. That's really all that matters. And look, there it is. Isn't that nice? Another one that was sent to me, Mass Effect 3 Leviathan DLC. I don't know if that's what the DLC is called, but it has you kind of propel down into this deep underwater cavern to find this Leviathan, which happens to be a big, big boy. The Leviathan itself is whatever. It's, you know, if it can talk, how scary can it be? But the whole traversing to get there, the whole dropping into the cavern and being underwater, is a little bit creepy, let me tell you that much. Someone sent me this Metroid one. I hadn't played this game myself. I know I probably missed out, but this looked like, especially for its time, I'm sure was pretty creepy, because it's an underwater kind of ship that you're inside of. Narcosis, I played this game on this channel as well. I only did one video about it because that was quite enough for me. The whole game happens at like the bottom of the ocean, and it's dark, and you're slow as frick, and you run out of oxygen, and you just have flares. Ratchet and Clank, The Sewer Escape. Classic kind of old style suspense, where they just have the water levels raising. And you know, if you make it through quick enough, you might never have to touch the water. But if you don't, the whole thing fills up and you drown. So that's pretty sketchy. And of course, Sea of Thieves. We've got a lot of deep water, and we've also got sea creatures. We got a kraken and a megalodon, and they're pretty scary, honestly. The water in Sea of Thieves just looks so good that it really kind of immerses you. It's pretty terrifying, being under the waves, being above the waves, watching your ship leaving without you. Not a good feeling. Also, we've got Shadow of the Colossus, the Hydrus boss. Yeah, big sea serpent, deep water, clumsy kind of controls, so you do get that extra sense of helplessness. Also, you can't really hurt the beast unless you climb on it, so it's not like if it attacks you, you can just slash it. Like, that doesn't do anything. You can see it moving around down there. It's giant, of course. And then you also can see the ruins all around you that disappear into the dark. This is one I had not played. It's called Siren Rex Maria. And you're basically in a sunken shipwreck, and there's some sort of creature after you. I think it's only for Xbox. I think that's why I hadn't played it or heard of it, really. But it definitely had some elements to it, and some scenes that felt very unnerving. So I think that it definitely deserves a mention in here. Skyrim. So one particular area, if you go way down, on the North Sea. There's a bunch of shipwrecks, and the water's really dark, and it's really, I think it's the deepest point you can get to, because lots of the water in Skyrim is pretty shallow. It's just like rivers and stuff. But this actually goes really far down, and it's at the edge of the map, so you kind of get that distance effect too, where if you look out, you know, the water keeps going, and the terrain keeps going down. And another one I played on the channel in its entirety, SOMA, also a fantastic game if you're looking for some something to torture yourself with that's water related. The whole game takes place on the sea floor. You're very far from the surface, and then you, spoilers, you go even deeper. This game freaked me out a good amount because it's a horror game in its own, and it takes place underwater. So it was definitely a lot for me to do, but I did it. I beat the game. I finished it. It's not a very long game, but the story is really interesting, and it's a overall really good game. But yeah, this game definitely deserves a serious mention because they do a lot with just deep black water and monsters. Lots of monsters waiting around there in the dark. Next up, I got Stranded Deep. I've been playing this game recently on my own time just to check it out, to see if maybe I could do videos about it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But the bosses were recommended to me pretty heavily for this video because it showcases a lot of what makes the underwater part of this game pretty spooky. And that is that the water's kind of endless, and there's big creatures in there, and you're kind of clumsy in the game. I feel like you're really not that fast, and I don't know, the combat mechanics are pretty whatever, not smooth. Whenever I don't have confidence that I actually could kill a beast in a game like this, it makes me feel that much more helpless, which makes it that much scarier. And yeah, there's a giant squid in this game. There's a giant shark, a giant eel, and a giant squid. And then of course, classic Subnautica, people making those Reaper observatories. What's wrong with you guys? I mean, I don't need to say much about this game. You already know. Watch my other videos about Subnautica. Freaking the ultimate underwater game, because it makes you go. It makes you choose to go to the deepest depths. Next up, oldie but a goldie, Tomb Raider 2. This one was suggested a lot. It's old, so I think we're all channeling some childhood trauma. But yeah, there's this mission where you go down into the depths as Lara Croft, and then this guy makes that face, and that shark makes that face, and then he gets so scared that he runs the submarine into a wall, which was not a good move, and then you end up in this deathly circular shark fight arena where the water's just black, and you got the weird terrain, and there's literally just a giant shark lurking around looking for you, and it will come kill you. So that's really nice. And then following up with that, we have Tomb Raider Underworld, which had a lot of underwater sections. They're all pretty well lit. None of it's that dark, but there's a ton of sharks in these games. There's lots of sections where the water's surprisingly deep, and you don't always have to swim down in it, but lots of times you do. But the fact that they made it so deep and murky and filled it with sharks, kind of unnecessarily, it's like GTA water, honestly. Except you can shoot the sharks with dual-wielding pistols, which is pretty neat. Out of all these games, I'm trying to think which ones would be the worst for me. I want to say GTA is definitely up there. Sea of Thieves is a big one. I would say Subnautica or SOMA, but since I played them and kind of like mastered my fear of them, they aren't as impactful to me now because I've like done it. I got over that. But GTA 5, freaking the water is just so spooky, dude. So GTA might actually be the top choice for bad underwater, which is just funny because it's not even supposed to be. It's just like a sandbox game. But let me know which one is your biggest nightmare out of these, and if there's any I missed, hit me up because I want to know. I want to collect all of the water games up here. So, but geez, yeah, this took me a while to compile all these, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if not, oh well, I don't care. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.